Hello, my name is Brand Todd. My channel is simply called Discerning What is True. I'm going to be reading from the book called Psychology and Kabbalah, chapter 14, which is called Incarnation. So we'll get into the day. The day is the 5th day of November 2025. If I'm correct here, let's make sure. Sometimes you get a little behind at times. Actually, it is not the 5th. Yes, it is. It's 5th. It's the 5th day. Okay, making sure real quick here. Hope all are doing well today. Trying to keep up with the sun today too. So let's get into this particular book. Again, a brilliant piece of work. Just simply call it, this is chapter 14, Incarnation. Seen Kabbalistically, the body begins as a single fertilized cell, which in the process of multiplication, differentialization, slowly fills out its already existing form. This picture of the body is held in the lower face of Yazara at Yesat, which is the Sephirah, concerned with holding image is. It is also the place of Da'at, D-A-A-T, in this case, the knowledge of the body. The scientist sees the template of the whole within each cell, but these are only the building blocks. The design of the organism is of higher order of law, and the cells merely conform to a pattern that is repeated in millions of human beings. This process of filling out the form does not stop at birth, but goes on through the various Sephirah phases until the body reaches its prime around 20 years old. During this growth period, many phases have to be passed through, and they are seen as distinct stages in the development of the psyche as well as the body. The basics of the psyche, according to those who only see the material dimensions, is the genetic structure of each cell that determines sex, body type, skin, hair, and eye color, and many other characteristics of physical makeup. They also connect the instinctive memories of all mankind to that particular individual race, nation, and family, as well as the character of the person's body, which is made up of a combination of the parents' chromosomes. This unique mix of physical elements greatly affects the lower face of the psyche, which is now embedded in the upper face of the body tree. An example of the above are the three major radical divisions of mankind, symbolized by the three sons of Noah, who populate the world after the flood. As a wide generalization, the white, yellow, and black races represent the thinking, feeling, and actions aspects of humanity, and the civilizations they have generated exhibit these distinct qualities in the Western science. Eastern religions and African dancing. Of course, there are many blends of the three found in the sub-ethical grouping, where intermarriage has taken place and racial subdivisions become within each strain. There are thinkers, feelers, and doers. That's correct. There are three characteristics. There are people who are predominantly thinkers, predominantly feelers, predominantly doers. Okay, but there's a mix of that also with them. Some could be dominant by doers. They're the ones that just, let's get the thing done. And there are those what we call feelers who feel emotionally, in life. And then there are the thinkers who deeply think about why they're here. What is the purpose in my incarnation at this time? What am I doing about it? You see, who put me here? You see, well, your parents. Well, yes, but much further back would be simply God. However, although clear-cut divisions have been blurred, there is nevertheless still a strong collective trend in most people who recognize their roots and conform to the group mind of their race, nation, and community. The conflict in the Republic of South Africa between the white and black tribes is an example of quite different attitudes which not only consider a person's color of skin, but the psyche and its general outlook. This occurs all over the world, even in so-called advanced countries like Britain, where the Scots still regard the English as the ought enemy, end quote, at the international soccer matches where the tribal levels erupts. The three types are also observed in individuals who are defined by some scientists as ectomorphic, or the thin nervous thinkers, mesomorphic, or the strong muscular active people, and the endomorphic, or slightly plump, sensitive, and moody feelers. These originate, according to biologists, in the predominance of the nerves, muscles, or gut processes during gestation. The Kabbalists would argue that such differentiations arise because of the type of the psyche being incarnated, and that a person needs this or that kind of body in order to correct or develop that or this quality. The classification of body types fits only to the basal triad of the physical tree, BASAL, where the muscles, nerves, and organs are seen to be clustered around the autonomic system at Yesod, with Makuk at the elementary level of skin, bones, and external sense organs. This relating of the body to the tree is seen an example of the autonomic nervous system, which is subdivisions of sympathetic, parasympathetic, which corresponds to the outer pillars. The sympathetic, that is the right column, dilates the pupils of the eye, while the parasympathetic left column constricts it, and the sympathetic stimulates the heart, while the parasympathetic does the reverse. Here we see the principles of structure and dynamics that operate throughout the worlds at work in the body to continue the relationship between the central and the autonomic nervous system matches the temporal and the Yesod of the physical tree. This is because the autonomic acts as the flywheel foundation which takes care of the routine processes of the body, while the central nervous system, being of a higher order, connects the makuk of the psyche with the operations of the brain at the Yesodic ego of the psyche, overlays the dot of the body. These fuse into a working relationship at birth as the lower part of the psyche interlocks with the upper part of the body, that is being the body tree. When a babe emerges from the womb and is detached from the mother, it is still far from being independent you see. Although the umbilicus has been cut, the psychological cord between mother and infant is still present and has to be maintained. This is called the bonding process. In simple societies, mother and infant are rarely separated. In recent years, however, in the Western world, the two are sometimes parted for various technical reasons during the immediate postnatal period, which, it has been observed, appears to have a detrimental effect on both, particularly the baby. Yes, that's true. I agree with that completely. It's not positive neither. Continue on. In most enlightened birth situations, the infant is now immediately given to the mother to hold and nurse. This is not just to become externally acquainted after the long interrelationship or pregnancy, but the vital setting up of connection that is very subtle and deep between humans at the makut and Yesod of the child's psyche seeks to establish contact with the physical world, represented initially by the mother. The failure to facilitate such a bonding, it has been noted, generates an inability for the incarnating psyche to relate to physical reality. Experiments on monkeys stopped from establishing such a Yesodic formation with a mother have resulted in extreme disturbed animals which, if not corrected, become permanently unstable and withdraw from their society. The same is true of human babies which, if prevented from forming a solid Yesod connection with their mothers, can become psychotic or neurotic in later life. Such a situation occurs when a mother is sick herself, indifferent to the child, or has another situation that needs, in her view, more attention. From a Kabbalistic viewpoint, such events are no accidents, but the first fatal effect of a cause rooted in karma. This does not mean that all the individuals concerned should not take responsibility for their actions as parents, for here one must take into account free will And the notion that the person who has just been born is also quite cognizant of what is going on for the first few days and sometimes weeks after birth. The actions and reactions of both parties are crucial and form the ground bed of physical and psychological security as the Makuk and Yesod of the body, psyche, are impressed with their primary experiences of the new life. Here it is where a fundamental trust or mistrust of the world outside originates. When the body and psyche start to knit together with increasing momentum, so the ability to maintain the prenatal consciousness will be buried beneath an ever-deepening accretion of sensual experience. Gradually, the central infinite body and its needs will overcome the clarity and freedom of the psyche. Most people soon forget it altogether. As we have been shown, many, though hyper-regressive, can recall what happened with great precision, which suggests a remarkable mature appreciation of the circumstances in some cases. The loss of this psychological perception, seen as Kabbalistically, is the shift of the center of gravity of consciousness down into Makuk as the Yesod-dot relationship of ego draws the attention away from the psyche and into the body with the development of the most direct sense of touch. This and the other Makuk organs of perceiving physical reality will be examined in the next chapter. That's the end of the chapter. Very quick chapter, dear folks. So we'll stop here at chapter 14. Appreciate you being here. It's a very short chapter, reading that is. A lot shorter than I anticipated. So again, this is Psychology and Kabbalah by the particular writer here. I'm new to this. Phil Lang is the one who suggested this particular book to me many years ago, but this is not the book I'm reading from now. This is another book that this particular writer wrote, and I was curious in it, and so I pursued it, and I downloaded it on my computer. The guy's name is Zev Ben Shimon Halevi, a Kabbalist, actually in London, England, at one time. So we'll stop there. Hope that you enjoy it, hope you appreciate it, and you take care and have a good day.